everybody, it's Romania Black, and if you can believe it, it's the end of 2023. Oh my gosh! So, how are we already to 2024? I feel like this year literally just started. Around this time last year, I was about to finish Death Note, getting ready to watch the terrible Netflix movie for New Year's, and was working on Janu Yaoi, and now I'm back at it again. I don't know where this year went. It disappeared. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I don't know. But either way, it has been a flyby year, and it's gone by very quickly. So I was busy the other day putting together all of the anime that I watched and finished this year, and I've been watching and or finished or caught up with 28 anime this year. Which is insane. Like, the ones shown in this image that I put in the community post and up on Patreon, and that will be attached to this on Patreon as well and in the Discord, this doesn't even count like catching up with the Ace of the Diamond chapters, with Yona of the Dawn manga volumes, with Seraph of the End manga volumes, with Twittering Birds Never Fly chapters, with Given chapters, with Sasaki and Miyano's movie, with Toilet Bound Hanako Kun's volumes, and with Janu Yaoi for last year. It doesn't even count those, so that's just extra on top of it. Oh my gosh. And then we had the Super Bowl of Yaoi that was in February of this year, if you can believe it. What? And then the husband and waifu brackets too. It feels like it was just yesterday we were doing that. Now we're getting ready for another round of it. I don't know. I'm not doing the Super Bowl of Yaoi this year. I kind of have in mind my plans for maybe, this may be the last year we do the husbando and waifu brackets as we do. It may also be the last year that they come out in March, because I'm getting nominations and recording them. I have them come out in March because normally it's around the time of, you know, March Madness and basketball in the US, and it seemed to like thematically fit. But now that we're doing all of the nominations and polls right now in December, it seems like a long time to make people wait to find out the results and see the videos. So next year I have a plan in mind of how I want to change that and have it come out maybe in February or late January, but I will cross that bridge next year when we get to it. So that's not this year though, although we're about to start doing the Elite 8 polls soon. I want to kind of record the first couple rounds of what we've got so far, so I'm sorry if you have to wait to vote. Maybe you'll forget who lost by the time we get to those. But I do have a lot of updates about the channel and things in general, but some of the things I was going to update in this year-end video are actually asked in the questions below by patrons. So because of that, I'm going to just save all the housekeeping stuff for the end of this video. So I encourage you, our patrons had some really awesome questions to ask, and so I encourage you to please watch the whole video. I will be doing a separate video with some last-minute unboxing things that will probably come out on Sunday of this week. So if you want to see that, I got some really awesome gifts for the end of the year. That was fun. But I'm also getting over a cold. I felt horrible today, so I didn't get to do any reactions, which is weird for me. But it's fine. I have tea. I'm medicated. I'll probably be better tomorrow. But with that being said, we have some questions from patrons that I asked to ask for the end of the year because I like answering questions. Those are fun. As a teacher, you always want to answer questions. So these are some very interesting questions. So I hope y'all are excited because y'all made me think with these. So fun times. But first, we have Sunspots was asking on Patreon, thank you for another most excellent year of content. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. My question would be, have you considered just picking what you would like to watch once another of the current series comes to an end and not doing a poll? So, for example, Buddies, Daddies, and Trigun were excellent choices, and if I'm remembering correctly, they were just added to the lineup. Yeah, I decided that I just wanted to do Buddy Daddies when it came out, like, early last year because I was really excited about it and I wanted to watch it, and then Trigun was kind of the same way. There was sort of an opening that it fit with, so I'm like, I'm just gonna watch Trigun and we'll go from there. And they have been really, really good shows. If you've not watched those shows, I highly recommend them. But actually, I was going to answer this question in this video, so I'm glad you asked it, Sunspots. Yes, I am going to, starting next year, have a spot just for series that I want to watch. I decided that after Monster is over, which is my Friday 8 a.m. Central Standard Time slot, once Monster is over, I'm going to have that Friday morning slot open for series. I'm gonna start with Pluto, actually, because I want to watch Pluto. It was on a recent poll and it didn't win, and I was like, darn it. So I want to watch Pluto really bad. It's only 8 episodes, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it when Monster's over. And so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I also would like to watch a lot of, maybe start with shorter series that I've wanted to watch but just haven't had time to, and haven't been able to fit them in, or they've been really close in the poll but just haven't won. I kind of want to start with some shorter series to get through that I've been wanting to see for a long time now, and then kind of work my way up from there. So yes, Friday slots after Monster are going to be like Romania's choice. It's basically going to be Friday Fun Day with Romania starting after Monster's over. We're going to start with Pluto and then go from there. I have like a couple series I've really wanted to watch, and they've not won the polls. They've not been in there. So I'm like, if they don't get voted in, soon, then I'll put them in that slot probably. But thank you. Yes. Next question is from Zont Zuit, saying, do you plan on reacting to Demon Slayer Season 3? Oh, buddy. And I know it's not really a high priority show for you right now, but I'm sure the fans would love it. And then Cyber added on to that comment saying that Season 4 is coming out this year. Yes. So Demon Slayer Season 1, I actually watched with my brother during the pandemic when Shelter in Place started, before I started my channel. We both watched it together, so I'd seen it before starting this channel, and then I did Season 2. I would like to get back into Demon Slayer. The thing that concerns me and has concerned me all year about that is copyright. If any of you remember, there were a lot of different reactions taken down for Demon Slayer, like in one fell swoop. It was just like bam. And my channel was no different. I had several of all of my Patreon Demon Slayer reactions, even my manga Demon Slayer reactions, that had nothing to do. There was no copyright material in that manga reaction at all. It was literally just me talking about it. But they flagged it and Patreon was like, well, the only thing you can do is just get a lawyer and go find them and talk to them about it. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I've been really hesitant about it because I don't want to put in all of this work for these reactions and then they be taken down and it just be like, which I was able to save the recordings, and there's like a Google Doc that patrons can get access to see those reactions, but I've been very hesitant with it. So I would like to see other patrons do it first and see if it worked out for them to do Season 3 and Season 4. And then I do eventually want to do a poll where it's catching up with seasons of shows that I've not caught up with. Like Demon Slayer would be on there. Beastars Season 2 would be on there, and I know Beastars is about to end. I've seen Season 1 of Beastars, but I would like to eventually see the rest of it. And then Black Butler, I've seen part of Black Butler, but not all of it, so that would be on there. Spy Family Season 2, we'll talk about Spy Family in a little bit, but yeah, that would be on there. And then obviously Demon Slayer as well. So yeah, I really would like to get back into Demon Slayer, but the copyright thing freaks me out. I'm very nervous about copyright strikes because I'm just like, I had my channel back in December of 2020 completely taken down. I had to completely restart it, and I only had a few videos then. Now it's so much bigger. I'm very hesitant to do something that would put my channel in jeopardy. So we'll just have to see on that and just kind of table it for now. But I'm glad you've asked it. I've been keeping away from spoilers because I would eventually like to get back into it. So we'll see. Now, Satya had some really good questions. These were kind of like meaty questions. Satya was asking like favorite anime of the year, favorite character, and I was like, oh, I gotta think about these. So their first question was, what was my favorite anime of the year? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really hard because I'll be honest, all of the anime that I watched this year were really good. And I don't have really any complaints about any of them. So I was like, well, I gotta pick one, maybe not. So I'm already hesitating the anime that I've left off of this answer. So I know there's gonna be people being like, what about this series? What about that series? And I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So, first of all, I just separated it into these genres. First was my favorite continuing series. I did love Vinland Saga a lot, don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick a favorite continuing series that I've been continuing with, it's Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, I've been cosplaying for it. I've been having so much fun with it. It's been traumatic, but also very feel good. So it's just been a lot of hype. And it's one of those series, it's one of those shonen series you can ride the hype with, and you can get really excited about and yell and be passionate. And so I really, really love that series a lot. So that's my favorite continuing series. My favorite retro series is Berserk. I mean, Berserk just came out of nowhere and just just steamrolled me, which I shouldn't be surprised because so many people were like, watch Berserk. And I was like, oh, I'll get to it. But I really, really like it. My favorite donghua is definitely Link Click. Link Click is so good. I wish more people would watch it and give it the proper attention that it deserves because it's so fascinating and really, really intricate and really good. My favorite finished series is Attack on Titan. For this year, yeah, it's that series. I mean, I had to be on here somehow in some capacity. A series that's as massive as Attack on Titan. My favorite one and done series, it was just like a short series, was Buddy Daddies. Friggin' love Buddy Daddies. It was such a surprise. I started it very afraid that I would not like it. I was like, okay, you're taking a chance. What if this turns out to suck? And then it turned out to be amazing. And I was like, okay, good. It's kind of like Skate the Infinity. You're just like, you just feel good watching it. It's just so wholesome and wonderful. My favorite novel, I had to make a favorite novel category because I wanted to put Link Click and Heaven Official's Blessing on here. But Heaven Official's Blessing maybe is my favorite novel in a long time reading because it's so massive and well done. It's just, Heaven Official's Blessing is going to be a lot in a lot of these answers, just so you know. If you've not watched it and you want a Donmai BL fantasy action horror comedy romance series, just read Heaven Official's Blessing. It's amazing. And then my favorite sports anime of the year, obviously I didn't do a lot with Ace of the Diamond this year, but I would say Kuroko's Basketball this year was my favorite sports anime. I sing it in whole, all of the audio dramas, the 57 character songs from season 1, or maybe was there 75? I don't know. There was more songs in that catalog than I had on my playlist for several of my songs I listened to going to work. Kuroko's Basketball is so massive as a piece of media, and I'm still reviewing it. I still have more content for Kuroko's Basketball I haven't even touched yet that I'm planning to this coming year, and I just love it. It's such a fun series, and it's amazing. Second question was, what is your favorite main character of the year? The main character. Now, that's a hard one because there's so many great main characters in these series that I watched. And so I had to think about it, and I thought, okay, well, I will do it this way. I'll do favorite female main character, favorite male main character, favorite duo, and the best ensemble. That seems fair enough, right? Even though main character and ensemble, whatever. So, my favorite female main character, I had to think about it for a little bit because I'm watching a lot of male-heavy series with male characters, but came out of nowhere in the last month or two, but I freaking love this series. Akane Tsunemori from Psycho Pass. I love her. I want to be her. I don't want to go through the stuff she's going through. No way. But I relate to her character so much. She's amazing. She's badass. She's vulnerable. She's shippable. She's such a feminist icon. I love her. I love her so much. Speaking of feminist icons, my favorite male main character, this one was hard because there's a lot of really good male characters. But if we're talking about one that could just woo you off your feet, but also be badass, but also be funny, but also make your heart break, it's Guts from Berserk. Guts, and here's the thing, Guts completely surprised me because going into this series, I thought he would be just a meathead that I would just be like, oh, it's just Guts. But he surprised me. He's poetic, he's romantic, he's a gentleman, but he's also a savage beast. It's what? Checking off all the boxes, right? Guts was amazing. He has fulfilled the shoes that Hawk left behind from Yona of the Dawn, which is hilarious because the mangaka for both series are friends. Makes sense. But yeah, Guts, I had to give it to him. I was like, yeah, no, he kind of takes the cake for me at this point of the year. Then I had my favorite duo, and this one was really hard. Obviously, there are lots of duos from Jujutsu Kaisen that I could choose, but I think my two favorite duos of the year were Hualien, Huachong, and Shilian from Heaven Official's Blessing. I have to put them together. I couldn't separate them and say my favorite male character is either one. They always had to be together for me. So them, and then I would say Kazuki and Rei from Buddy Daddies, because their chemistry was just fantastic. And I could have picked some Jujutsu Kaisen characters for the favorite duo, but I chose the two from these series that are less traumatic at this point. Not that they haven't gone through trauma, heaven no, but are on a better note than some of the ones from Jujutsu Kaisen. And then my favorite ensemble, it was a toss-up between Attack on Titan's cast, and Kuroko's Basketball. I would say Kuroko's Basketball and Attack on Titan, both series have lots of main characters I really liked, and so it would be hard to choose from either series which character I liked the most. So I was like, well, I like the whole ensemble of Kuroko's Basketball. I like the whole ensemble of Attack on Titan, so I feel like picking those two shows is pretty reasonable. My favorite side character of the year, I had 3 favorite side characters, my top 3. Grimmer from Monster is my number 1. Just take my heart out, put it on a plate, and say, here you go. That's him, my number 1 side character. Chi-Rong from Heaven Official's Blessing! Chi-Rong is such a trash king. I love him. He's amazing. I just want to watch him all day. I could literally watch him and read his dialogue and everything on a daily basis. I need a day-to-day calendar. I need a desktop calendar of just pictures of Chi-Rong and just him cursing every single day. That's what I need. And then my other one, I was like, is he a side character? It depends on your point of view. Is he the main character or the side character? I chose Reagan from Mob Psycho 100. Some people would argue he's a main character, not a side character, but the show is called Mob, so I picked Reagan to be a side character. But yeah, Reagan Arataka is just, he's the most meme-worthy man of the year. How could I not include him as an answer for one of these questions? I mean, let's be real. So then we had this question of the best antagonist of the year. Again, you ask me to pick one. And Sacha even said, Sacha was like, well, you can pick more than one if you want. So I did most mysterious, most frustrating, most diva-ish, most terrifying, and the most devastating. And most devastating had a tie for me. So this technically my top 6 antagonists, which 6 fits, right? Most mysterious antagonist of the year was Makima from Chainsaw Man. And you may be thinking, oh, Makima, she's on the side of the protagonist, right? So we think. Girl be doing some bitchin' moves that makes me think she's kind of an antagonist. So maybe she's our honorable mention here. Maybe she's that, right? But she has she is villain coded for me. So I'm like, yes. But yeah, Makima takes the cake for that. Most frustrating antagonist is definitely Eren Yeager. Eren was so frustrating, but you know what? Cheers. It's great. Most diva-ish definitely goes for me as Shogo Mikishima from Psycho-Pass. Oh my god, I'm living right now for my reactions and discussions with him. They're so much fun. He's such a great antagonist to talk about, and he has a book club, so how can I not put him on here? Most terrifying is Bai Wusheng from Heaven Official's Blessing. That's all I'm going to say. Go read the story. That's all I'm going to say. No spoilers. Bai Wusheng is terrifying. That's all you need to know. And then most devastating goes to tie between Mahito of Jujutsu Kaisen and Griffith from Berserk for reasons. So the next question that Sacha had was the ship of the year. I did my top 3, I guess technically 4. You'll see in a minute. But I did the obvious ship of the year is Hualien. It's Hua Chong and Shi Lian. I mean, it's from Heaven Official's Blessing. They're the duo of the year. They won the husbando and waifu bracket for 2023. They each won their own bracket, so how could they not be the ship of the year? But I thought that was really obvious. I was like, yeah, Hualien is like the safe, definitive, the choice for ship of the year for me. Absolutely. So then I did most unexpected ship, and then the most fangirly ships. So most unexpected, again, is Psycho-Pass with Kogami and Akane. They've come out of nowhere. I love them as a ship. They're so far, I chose them over a certain ship in Berserk because so far this ship has not suffered nearly the traumatic casualties that ship has. So that's why I put it on here. But I mean, I would choose one from Berserk, but it doesn't seem as unexpected. I think from the first couple episodes, I was like, I hope this works out. Maybe it will. But the Kogami and Akane one, just the depths of which their ship has developed kind of has blown me away. So I love it. And then most fangirly ship, I'm copping out, but the most fangirling I've had has been for the sports anime that I've watched this year. Whether it's been Sarune, whether it's been Kuroko's Basketball, whether it's been Blue Lock, all 3 of those sports anime that I've been watching this year, it's just like ships galore. It's like, you rolled up into a harbor, you had a soccer ball in one hand, a bow and arrow in the other, and you were balancing a basketball on your head. maybe it should be the soccer ball instead of the basketball you're bouncing on your head, but you just roll in with all the sports gear on your ship and the harbor's just filled, ready for you. I've had so much fun. I could not pick which ship I fangirled most over. Y'all can debate in the comments down below. But yeah, it's been a good year for shipping. A most good year indeed. And so Sacha then asked what was my favorite opening and ending of the year. And this honestly was a really hard one because, again, y'all are having me watch really good series. And it's been rather difficult to pick a favorite. I would say of the OP, it's hard because Jujutsu Kaisen's had some pretty solid OPs. I like those. Death Parade definitely has the catchiest OP. Like, I was like looking forward to always hearing the Death Parade OP, even though tonally it doesn't really match the show very well. I really liked it, but I have to say, if I had to pick my favorite OP, it's Link Click Season 2. It's so good. Again, if you're not watching Link Click, you are missing out. Link Click Season 2's OP is just really good, and it's one of those OPs that you can just pick apart and dissect, and it's just, and you could dissect it after things start happening in the show. It's just that good, and it starts to change. The OP changes as the show goes. It's really, really good. I like that OP the most. I think the most underrated OP that I've listened to that's really grown on me was for Trigun Stampede. It's so different from the OG Trigun, so at first I was like, oh, this is very different. I don't know if I like this. And now I'm almost getting ready to watch episode 11, and it's just really good. Like, it's caught on, I'm like, oh no, I really like this OP now. So definitely underrated. My favorite ED, it's all of the Chainsaw Man ones. All the Chainsaw Man EDs. Oh my god. All of them. Like, we get blessed with 12 different EDs for a season. I wish other anime had the budget and the ability to do this, because the way that the EDs for Chainsaw Man would match the show and match the episode and thematically go with it was so good. Like, it was just such a treat to end an episode of Chainsaw Man and the ED would kind of correspond with that ending, and you're like, oh, they're works of art. All of the imagery, all of the artwork, all of the songs, the time. The one band that does the second OP for Death Note does one of the EDs, and it's my favorite. It's so freaking good. I just love it. It's fantastic. So yeah, Chainsaw Man, I don't know if they're going to do that for season 2, but I hope that they do, because those EDs were amazing. Next question. There's been an evolution in how you do your discussions after watching an episode. From a short discussion that's maybe 10 minutes long to Whiteboard Coon and going through an episode a second time around. What's an earlier reaction series to a show that you've done that you wish you could re-experience with your setup you have now? Oh my gosh. Remember when Jujutsu Kaisen season 1 was like 10-minute reaction and discussions? When? How? Oh my gosh. I feel like Banana Fish started the evolution of me being able and being more confident and talking longer about series, and then Attack on Titan cemented it. Like, Patreon plus Attack on Titan allowed me to get Whiteboard Coon, and that kind of started the whole like breaking things down and realizing people liked that and kind of going with it. So I don't know. I would maybe revisit Jujutsu Kaisen season 1 if I was more confident back then and had Whiteboard Coon back then. I think I would have liked to have revisited season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, but I don't know. I like the Banana Fish reactions that I have now, so I wouldn't change them. I really am happy with how that series turned out and my discussions of them, so I wouldn't change them. Honestly, I think more than redoing any series, because I've not been unhappy with any discussions, but I wish there were some series that I hadn't already watched before starting my channel. So like Haikyuu seasons 1 through 3, I wish I could have reacted to those. Yuri on Ice especially, I would have loved to react to that because I'm so giddy about it. And then maybe like Devilman Crybaby, because it kind of fits in with some of the series I'm watching now. Those I wish I wouldn't have watched ahead of time and could have reacted to now, because I could go back and discuss them again, but it wouldn't be the same, right? So, and there's just not time. There's too many new anime to worry about to go back and redo them. So, and I did go back and rewatch Yuri on Ice, so I have done that. But yeah, I think that would be what I would do if I had the option. What are some of the most important things that you love and look for in a protagonist? Oh man, vulnerability, relatability, communication skills, and honestly, I want protagonists that surprise me. So characters like Akane from Psycho Pass and Kogami from Kuroko's Basket, or oh my god, yeah. Oh my gosh, Kagami, craziness. Kagami from Kuroko's Basketball, those characters that are really good at communicating. But then you have characters like Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen, who's really vulnerable and relatable. And then you have characters like Thorfinn and Guts from Vinland Saga and Berserk, who start out a certain way and then they surprise you. And you're like, oh. And you kind of see their character evolve and develop in real time throughout the show. Like those type of characters are my favorite. I love those. Has your taste in protagonists changed over the years? Oh God, yeah. I'm older now. I'm in my 30s, so I definitely want a protagonist that is mature and communicates. It's not just about the looks. Like when I was younger, I would have been a light Yagami. When I was in my teens, I'd have been like light Yagami, Eren Yeager, yeah. I already know I would have. And then now I'm like, Levi, Grimmer, Nanami, Pixis. I'm definitely more into more mature adult characters now than I would have been in my teens. And I feel like I'm definitely more into the villains as I get older. I think a lot of people are, because we can relate more to them, to their trauma. Like with Bleach, when I was younger, I was a big Urahara fan because he was so mysterious and he was blonde, and I have a thing for blondes. And now I'm kind of more of an Aizen fan, so it's like, but it has to be the right mix of a villain. I'm not into every villain. They have to be dramatic, they have to have layers, they have to be entertaining. So like Aizen's a great villain for Bleach, and I would like to get back to Bleach this year, so we'll see if that happens, right? Mm-hmm. What show do you think your enjoyment of actually reacting to it and reading the comments for it was increased? Basically, a show that if you had just watched in your own time, you wouldn't have loved it as much as you do now. All of them? I really do think doing reactions and having commentary on them and communicating with people about them makes a show more enjoyable. It's why people have book clubs. It's why we, get together and talk about these shows, because that sense of camaraderie and excitement like increases the discussion about it, which is fun. But I would say that the show that was enhanced for me most by the commentary would have been Kuroko's Basketball. Yeah, because I think I'm watching the dub right now, like in my spare time when I get time to do it, and it's fine. Like I enjoy watching it, but I'm like, I have thought watching the dub be like, man, if I just watched this and didn't talk to people about it, would I enjoy it as much as I do now that I've talked to people about it? We've kind of shared like the laughter about the ships and all of that, and I don't think I would have. So I think that does make a difference. But in terms of my favorite comment interactions, definitely my top 5 have been like Neon Genesis, Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Heaven Official's Blessing, and Attack on Titan. And it's just because they're massive series. Chainsaw Man's not, but Chainsaw Man, it was like there's so much hype going into it. Everybody was like D, and then it just rode out that wave for 12 weeks. With Jujutsu Kaisen and Heaven Official's Blessing, Attack on Titan, and Neon Genesis, there's so much clout around them, so much hype, so much depth to those series. The commentary has made it so much more fun to engage with and get excited about as I watch the episodes. So that's been a good time, definitely. So thank you, Sacha. Be Happy has the next group of questions. Happy holidays to you all, and especially you, Romania. Thank you, Happy. This year was full of wonderful shows that you made me either discover or enjoy rewatching them with you, with great depth, analysis, and always a good-natured humor and energy. Thank you. My questions are, oh man, what show had the most emotional impact on you of all the ones you've ever seen, and why? I didn't answer this question. I forgot to answer this question before I started this video. I think because I was just sitting there like, what do I do? How do I answer that? Oh my God. I don't usually get emotional about series. I am not really a person that cries at movies unless there's like one specific thing that triggers me. Like I think I've cried twice with Attack on Titan, and very like a show like Violet Evergarden gets me like sobbing nonstop, and Link Click the same way. I would say of all the shows, Violet Evergarden like really hit me hard, like the hardest I think of any anime. It's just like they just know how to like dig a knife in you and just squeeze out your emotions. I would say certain episodes of Link Click definitely did that. I would say Vinland Saga Season 2. I would say, honestly, as much as I love Attack on Titan and some of it hits hard, Vinland Saga Season 2 for this year, I would say that Vinland Saga Season 2, there was one episode in particular that it was hard to watch, and I had to just like literally stop the discussion and just back away and be like, I need to take a minute. And if you've watched Vinland Saga Season 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think that one hit me the hardest because it was so well done, and it was so relatable and real that I just, I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. So that one was probably really, really good. And then, yeah, and I would say that some stuff in Berserk has been a bit disturbing. But yeah, I'd say Vinland Saga Season 2 hit me the most emotionally this year, along with certain parts of Link Click. Definitely. Yeah. Question 2. A lot of folks ask about the continuity of Danmai post some scum villain. Oh, there's enough Danmai to last us a good while, I'm pretty sure. Can you please tell what are your stories that you've had most recommended to you, and if the formula will always be donghua and a novel, or maybe just a novel for those not adapted into the donghua yet? Yeah. I'm not opposed to just starting with a novel at all. I feel if there is a donghua available, I want to watch it first because I like that formula. I like the formula of donghua and then the novel. And I like that because I feel like the novel's better than the donghua, honestly. And so I feel like if I watch the donghua, I can appreciate it for what it is. And then when I go to read the novel, I'm like, oh, this is better. This is great. Okay, awesome. And I already have in my head a visual of what the characters look like, of what the scenarios look like. I already have that visual in my head when I go to read the novel, especially because it's Danmai and it's a Chinese fantasy or a Chinese romance. It probably has cultural aspects that I am not familiar with as a Western audience. So I like to visualize from what the aesthetic is that they've presented, and that helps me visualize it as I'm reading better. Right? I feel like if I started with the novel and then went to the donghua, I'd be like, oh, that's not how I pictured it, or oh, I don't think they did it as good as the novel, and I'd have a much more negative reaction, if that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely am not opposed to just starting with the novel if there is not a donghua adaptation. That won't stop me. I'm not opposed to that at all. Word of Honor has been on the poll several times, so I feel like eventually I need to watch Word of Honor, which is a live action Danmai. I know of Thousand Autumns. I know of Spirit Pact, Guardian. Those have all been requested a lot, but the one that everybody keeps requesting is something about a husky, and I don't know. It's like 2HA, something about a husky. People think, I guess it's kinky. I don't know. Some people have been like, it's not for me, and I'm like, it's not for you. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but that I'd say 2HA or whatever it's called has been the most recommended one. I'm not going to be surprised if it wins after Scum Villain, but we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. Number 3. Can we have a video about the hottest anime characters? Here's the thing. I want to do more video essays in the coming year. I would like to do more video essays. I have lots of ideas for video essays that I would like to do. I'm always anxious about videos that are the hottest or best videos because I feel they are instantly dated, and I feel that I will leave something out, and I'm very limited by what I've seen and by what I've not seen. And so I feel like as soon as I made like a hottest anime character video, there'd be 1,000 comments that would be like, well, what about this anime? And how dare you leave out this person? And blah, blah, blah. And would just ridicule me. And I'd be like, oh, I tried. So I'd rather do videos that are about like shipping or fun things or thematic things that I've noticed between series, because I'm starting to get to a point where I'm starting to notice like thematic threads between series that I've watched, and I'd like to do more with that. So if I have to do like a DILF video at some point, that might have to happen, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So yes. Number 4, I'm amazed by how you balance your schedule between your work and life in general. And what are the changes, if any, in 2024 that would make things go smoother? Yeah, I've talked to the moderators a lot. I kind of vent to them quite a bit whenever I'm frustrated because I don't really have anybody else to vent to about it. The channel takes up a lot of my time besides work. And has definitely over this last year added a lot of emotional anxiety, which I can see bleed out into the Discord and bleed out into my reaction to comments and things like that. And it may not seem that way to people that are in those spaces, but it's noticeable to me, which bothers me. And so I made the very foolish mistake over the summer of getting to where I was doing like 12 shows over the summer. And that was not smart, ill-advised, and during the summer I had all this time and it was working out great, but then once fall happened and my full-time job kicked back up full speed again, because in the summer it kind of dies down a little bit, suddenly it was very hard to keep up with. And like right now I maybe have like one night a week I can go see friends that I'm not doing stuff for the channel, and I see my family for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour every day of the week, and that's about it. And the rest of it's just like full-time work and the channel. So I would like to have more time to work on side projects, to have more time to work on video essays. So I'd like to get down to 7 shows. Like right now I'm at 9 or 10. I would like to get down to 7. That is my goal. Especially because most of these now are like long analysis series. They're like series that are taking like an hour to analyze and discuss, which takes up time. If they were just like 30-minute analyses, and yeah, I wouldn't feel bothered, but they do take up a lot of time. So hopefully I can be more productive in the summer. I would like to do summer live streams again. I thought those were a lot of fun. I enjoyed those. I definitely also want to do more Patreon exclusive things. I have a lot of extras that I want to do. Like I would love to do movies that are just for Patreon. We've talked about Jujutsu Kaisen doing like little mini manga reviews. And honestly, here's the thing. I have debated for a long time. There's this one show. It's called Card Captors. I remember it from when I was a kid and I kind of know about it, but I would like to just watch Card Captors. It's 70 episodes, so doing a whole review series and reaction series of it would take a long time. I almost want to just be like, are you okay if I just watch Card Captors and just do like review chunks as I go through the series? Because I don't really want to do like a long running series like that. And I'm not sure how many people would actually want to watch like 70 episodes of Card Captor reactions, but maybe they would want to see like 10 reviews of Card Captors and me going through it. So stuff like that I'm interested in. But my thing is I would just ask for patience from people, because I know I get a lot of requests for shows and they're like, why aren't you watching all of these shows? And I'm like, I have a full-time job and I coach speech and I teach on the side and I do this. So there's only enough hours in the day. So yeah, that's kind of the idea, but I'm kicking around with it. I really want to watch Card Captors and do random reviews of it. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably ask y'all if y'all in the comments are cool with that. We'll see. So thank you, Happy. Frank Acevedo had some questions to ask. First, I'd like to say thank you for making anime a fun experience watching again with your insightful analysis and enthusiasm and all the work you put into your videos. It's very much appreciated, and I look forward to another great year. Thank you. Frank does some really amazing pieces of art on Twitter. I think it's Frank Ace Art 22, I think is their handle. They did my profile picture on Twitter, but they do some amazing artwork and they share it in the Discord as well. So thank you. As for questions, here's the few that I had. First question, among the series that you saw this year, was there a standout moment, scene, or something that totally surprised you? Oh, okay. So Fire Punch, that manga series that I read, it was only 8 volumes, but it completely blew me away from start to finish. I like Fujimoto's work a lot. Fire Punch, it was just like a literal gut punch from start to finish. I really liked it. Yes. Jujutsu Kaisen has been meeting all of the expectations, exceeding them, and giving me the BL that I didn't know I needed this season, inadvertently. So, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen has been a lot of fun. I've loved that. I would say the opening concept of Blue Lock. That's all I'll say. Blue Lock has surprised me week to week. I'm very impressed with it. I like it a lot. There's a character in the series Monster that does drag. That was probably the biggest surprise. One of the biggest surprises of the year. I was like, what the fudge? That one. Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4 was a mind melt the entire way through, especially this character reveal that happens that goes back to the first season. Every episode of Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4, I was like, what is happening? In the best way possible. I was like, oh my god, what's happening? And then Link Click Season 2. It is a complex puzzle that I have to step away from because it makes me want to write a thesis and become a scholar again and just tear it apart bit by bit. And I know if I do that, I will have no time for anything else on the channel, so I can't. But I have to stop myself because Link Click is just that good. It's just amazing. And then Heaven Official's Blessing surprises me every week, so I have to include it on there. Yes. Was there anything you learned or feel that you improved on as far as making your videos that you would like to implement going forward? I realized that I need some new equipment. This chair is terrible. I need a new chair because it does not have support, and I've been like sitting on a pillow the last year because of it. I need a new camera. This camera that I've been using the last 3 years. I'm one of those people that once I buy something, I want to use it until it falls apart. I don't like I'm not a swappy person. I'm not like a fixer-upper and then, trade it off. I get something and I like run it into the ground. That's kind of like what I do. And so I realize I need a new camera with better resolution. And so I'm working on getting that and then getting a new chair For sure. And I also went out and bought new equipment for the manga reviews, which I'm going to be trying out. So that's really exciting, which is very scary. I'm a Taurus, so I don't like change. So I'm very resistant to it. And so trying new things out is very scary, but could yield some very fun results. So it's just a matter of time. I would like to experiment more with video essays too and get like a camcorder and go out. We've talked in Ace of the Diamond of me going to like the batting cages and making an absolute fool of myself and talking about Ace of the Diamond there. I think that would be a lot of fun. That's just, I need to get the equipment for it and have the courage to test it out. So thank you. What were some of your favorite theories that you had that were correct or close? This is really hard to talk about because of spoilers. I have had a theory about Eren Yeager since season 1, and by the end of the series, it was proven correct. So that was fun. Although it's not a big theory, I think most people have figured it out by season 1, but I felt very proud of myself being like, yeah. And there was one theory in Heaven Official's Blessing, which I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but those of you that have watched with me will know. There's this theory from Heaven Official's Blessing that I felt I was on the right track with from the start, but it's my favorite kind of theory. It's one that you feel in your bones is correct, but then there's a twist that makes your theory right, but also complicates it in a way with the antagonist and the protagonist. And I love that so much. Like, I like when you're kind of on the right track with something, but there's something you didn't anticipate that throws you off and you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And so those are my favorite kind of theories, that how they work out. And so with Heaven Official's Blessing, that one was a lot of fun. So I liked that quite a bit. What kind of anime would you like to see more of? Genre, narratives, types, characters, etc. Next year. Look, I love detective, noir, thrillers, fantasy, but I need balance. I was like, oh, I mean, I really would like to watch a little bit more slice of life, BL romance this year. Maybe watch a staple anime or two that I haven't gotten to yet. I want to definitely keep a more balanced schedule and it not be so doom and gloom for my sanity. But I always want to have a Danmai or a sports anime on the schedule because those are just so much fun that I always feel like I need those. So thank you, Frank. Now, TB asked a very important question, and this one was hard. If you had to rank all the shows that you've watched this year in terms of personal enjoyment, including sequels like season 2 and stuff, what would your ranking be? I did 28 shows this year, so this was difficult. And I want to say first and foremost that this is a very subjective list. It is just based on my thoughts right now. Anytime I make a list, I immediately regret my decisions and I want to switch everything around, right? I would say my numbers 28 through 21 are pretty much set in stone how I feel. 20 through 11, and then my top 10. So let's just go ahead and get 28 through 21 out of the way. My least favorite of the year. And keep in mind, I liked all these shows. I'm not saying I didn't like them. As soon as I say my number 28, they're gonna be like, she hated it. I'm gonna be like, no, it's not that I hated it, but 28 is Spy Family. I will say this. I don't know. Spy Family hasn't aged well with me. I get less and less excited for season 2 because I think that compared to the other stuff I've watched this year, Spy Family is just the most pedestrian, the most vanilla ice cream, the most generic. And when there's such good series that give you so much flavor, vanilla just isn't cutting it for me. So I kind of have held off on Spy Family season 2 because it's just not my cup of tea at the moment, right? 27 was The Great Pretender. I liked The Great Pretender. The ending I had some issues with. I think for me, there wasn't a lot of comments about The Great Pretender, so there wasn't a lot of people talking about it, so it just kind of came and went, and I was like, 26 is My Hero Academia. I like My Hero Academia a lot. I think what hurts me because a lot of people ask, they're like, well, why don't you go ahead and read the manga? And read the manga for Jujutsu Kaisen, read the manga for Chainsaw Man, read the manga. I'm reading the manga for Berserk, so we are going to do that. But a lot of people are like, well, why don't you go ahead and read the manga for these other series while you wait? And I think the reason is because then the anime reactions won't be good because I already will know what will have happened, right? And I think My Hero Academia is a good example of this. Like, I like reacting to My Hero Academia. It's fun. The way that they animate, I get really excited for because I like the series. But it does take away, I think, when people comment and people's engagement because they know that I know already what's going on. So that's why it's there. 25 is Fire Punch only because there's only 8 volumes. just because it was short. A lot of these at this point are only because they were short, not because they are any less good, but because they were short series that I didn't get as invested into. So 24 is Death Parade. Same thing. I really like Death Parade. I encourage y'all to go watch Death Parade. It's really fun, but it's only 12 episodes. Same with Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited for 23. I liked Millionaire Detective a lot, but it was only 12 episodes. So I was like, what can we do? And then same with, now Case Study of Vanitas was 24 episodes, but I think it was kind of the same thing where it was a really good series. There wasn't a lot of engagement with it. And so not as much as some of the other series. So that's why it was down on this list. And then number 21 was One Piece. I really enjoyed watching it with my brother. We had a lot of fun, but it was just short, just 8 episodes and that was it. So number 20 and number 19 together for me have been Trigun and Trigun Stampede. And I think only because, again, like the engagement, like there's just not been a lot. The people that have been engaged with the series and talking with me, I've really enjoyed. They've been a lot of fun. But it's just down on the list for me because of that. Number 18 was Tsurune Season 2. I love Tsurune. It just wasn't as good as the other series. That's all it comes down to at this point. Number 17 was Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4. What a fun time. I really enjoyed the madness that was Season 4 of Bungo Stray Dogs. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what to think about Season 5, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Number 16 was Mob Psycho 100. I loved Mob. It was such a cute series. It was so good. I am forever in love with Reagan and Mob and Dimple. And I even got a Serizawa poster to hang up. I don't know if anybody's noticed it. Nobody's commented about it, but I have a Serizawa poster now. I tried to find a Reagan one. They're all sold out. I hate it, but I found a Serizawa one. Got it. I wanted a Reagan one to go over here and balance, but what can we do? But yeah, I absolutely loved Mob Psycho. It was great. Number 15 was Buddy Daddies. Awesome series. It completely came out of nowhere, surprised me. I thought it was going to be a ripoff of Spy Family, and I ended up enjoying it more than Spy Family, and I made a video that half of YouTube hated, so. But honestly, I felt validated. A lot of people agreed, and then the haters that were just like, oh, Spy Family, they just like fueled my dislike of Spy Family from there, and they kind of, honestly, it's funny, the people that were just like, the same people that would be like, you're wrong for disliking Spy Family over Buddy Daddies, they'd be like, so when are you reacting to Spy Family? And I'm like, who are you? It's fun. I get kind of excited about stuff like that sometimes. Number 14 was 86. I'm not very far into 86, and that's why it's so down on the list. I really like the series so far. I'm really excited about the series. I'm just not very far in it yet. So I'm only like 10 episodes in. So I feel like by next year's list, it will hopefully be higher up. Number 13 was Chainsaw Man. 12 weeks of madness. Oh my God, the angel debate on Discord. I had so much fun with Chainsaw Man. It feels like so long ago. I'm so ready. I know there's a movie coming out next year. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to get back to Chainsaw Man and Fujimoto because it's just such a fun time. Fujimoto, it's my jam. I liked it a lot. And plus, it made me nearly gag. So there's that fun time. So yes, number 12 is Blue Lock. It's only down on this list like it is because I'm only in 16 episodes at this point. I'm not very far into the series and I need more. And the other series, I have more with them. So that's the main reason. Number 11 is Monster. I freaking love Monster. It is so good. And I'm almost to the end of the series and I'm sad. So I'm like on episode 62 now and I'm really sad about that. I want more Monster and I can't believe it's almost over. I only got like 12 episodes left, so shed a tear, pour your beer out for Monster. Number 10, we're to the top 10 now from 2023. I had to include this on here because I technically didn't get done with it till this year, but Death Note is number 10. I am so happy I finally saw Death Note. I've wanted to see Death Note since I was in college, and I kept being like, no, I don't know, no. And then finally it won, and I was like, okay, yes, we're going to watch Death Note. And I'm so glad I did. Like, it's one of my favorites. I recently went to a holiday Christmas party with some friends from high school that I still keep up with. And my one friend from high school, her husband was staying there, and his daughter's like, she's 14, and which made me feel very old indeed. And so we were standing there talking, and he was like, yeah, we've been getting into some anime. And I was like, oh, what'd you watch? And he's like, well, my daughter and I, we watched Death Note. But my wife thinks it's too scary. And I was like, Death Note! And so we like went into this big discussion about Light and Ryuk. And meanwhile, my friend from high school, that's his wife, was like, that big old monster monster thing's scary. And I was like, and she was like, no. It's like, it was great. It was a great conversation when you can talk with your high school friends and creep them out with anime. Top notch. Number 9 is Kuroko's Basketball. Just such a fun series. So ridiculous. So many ships. So much content. So much fan art. I really love Kuroko's Basketball for the depth that it has. Number 8's My Lucky Number. That's going to be Neon Genesis Evangelion. Again, like Death Note, it barely made it to 2023 because I technically was just finishing up the manga in this year, but I'm still going to count it. A classic series that I thought was just a mech anime. And it's not. It is a psychological thriller disguised as a mech anime, and it's really, really good. And I liked it. And its experimental ending and subsequent films were a joy to watch. Number 7 was Link Click Season 2. I loved this. From here on, it's really, really hard because they're all just so good. But Link Click Season 2, it was so much fun to talk about. It was very frustrating because I was trying to stay away from all, like, Link Click has so much content with it that there'd be like promotional stuff I was trying not to look at because some of the promotional stuff was spoilery for the episodes I hadn't seen yet. But then you kind of need to know the promotional stuff to understand the stuff that's happening in the show, so it's kind of complicated. But it's like, do you want a Sherlockian mystery that you have to just peel apart layer by layer and then there's more mystery on top of mystery? That's Link Click Season 2, and it's been a blast. Number 6 is the newest show that I'm watching, and I am in love. I think it would be higher up on this list if I was further into it, and that is Psycho Pass. I don't know why it took me this long to get to Psycho Pass. It feels like the spiritual successor from Death Note is what Psycho Pass feels like. It feels like Death Note's spiritual successor because it's just got that kind of like noir, crime, sci-fi, thriller vibes, but it checks off all of these boxes, and I'm like, yes, absolutely. I'm in love with this show. I'm excited to see where it goes. We'll just have to see. Number 5 is Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is number 5 only because I read the manga this year, which was fun, and then I only watched 2 bits of anime, which granted, they were the finale. They were, full-length movies, but I feel like in other years, Attack on Titan would have been higher, but this year, since I was rounding it out, I feel like it fit for number 5 there. What else can I say? I don't think I've talked about a show longer than Attack on Titan. I don't know if I will ever talk about a show as long as Attack on Titan. I don't think I will. I don't think it's possible unless something comes out that just completely revolutionizes everything. It's one of the most talkable shows that you can watch because there's just so much to derive from it, and my mouth is getting dry just thinking about talking more about Attack on Titan. So number 4 is Season 2 of Vinland Saga. I think that the emotional beats of Vinland Saga Season 2 hit me more than the rest of Attack on Titan, and that's why it's up a notch higher. It's just Season 2 of Vinland Saga. It's really hard for me not to read the manga for Vinland Saga. I will tell you that. It is going to be hard. It's going to be a trial, but I'm up to the challenge because the anime was such a good adaptation of the manga. From what I've heard, I'm very excited that hopefully they do a Season 3. Yeah. Which I think it's won a lot of awards this year, Vinland Saga has, so I think that will hopefully get the ball running on them renewing it for another season. Number 3 was Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Oh my god, I've waited. This is why being anime only can be beneficial, because I have waited 2 years to watch Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I've been waiting, and people have been like, are you going to read the manga? And I'm like, no, I'm going to be anime only. I'm going to wait. And it has paid off in spades. This season has been so much fun. I have loved it. I've been so enjoying it. It's just been a great time. I just absolutely am all here for it. So there you go. Number 2 is Berserk, a classic I finally am getting down to watch. It has exceeded my expectations, even though I shouldn't be surprised. I haven't started the manga yet because I'm terrified of it, but I will this weekend have to start recording, so we'll see how that goes. So, but I really have enjoyed Berserk. It has been a trip. And also I was able to record ahead with Berserk, which I think has helped out a lot to kind of scale back my expectations and to not be spoiled, and etc., etc. So that part's been a lot of fun. And then number 1 this year, are you surprised? It's Heaven Official's Blessing. It's the best thing. It's the best thing since sliced bread. MXTX, she is an amazing author. I love her storytelling. I love the way she writes romance. I love the way she writes action and horror and comedy and blends it in. It has been, I'm on week 76 coming up that I've been reading this story consecutively, reading the novel for 76 weeks in a row. And then I had like 12, I'm going to have basically like 100 weeks almost of Heaven Official's Blessing tied up. And it's been worth every moment. I've loved it. If you've not read Heaven Official's Blessing and you like romance and you like fantasy and horror and comedy and action, that is the series for you. Let me tell you, it's really good. Question number 2. That took a long time to answer. Question number 2. If you had to pick a character from any shows that you've watched in 2023 to have a long and thorough discussion with, who would it be and why? Secretly, I'm hoping you would choose Geto or Gojo and present them with the Board of Gay Yearning. I would love to present Gojo and Geto with the Board of Gay Yearning. Would love to do that. But if I had to sit down with a singular character, I mean, I could sit down with Shogo Mikishima and ask him about his book club preferences. I could do that. I could sit down with Lu Guang from Link Click and ask him his secrets to tell me all that. But in all seriousness, I think I would just like to sit down with L from Death Note and like eat sweets and talk about the art of deduction, or get him and certain Psycho-Pass characters together and talk about the art of deduction. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think we'd have a great time, and just L fascinates me, so I think that would be a good well-spent afternoon. Question 3. If you had to voice an anime character, one that you feel you could actually resonate with and sufficiently do a decent enough job, who would you pick and for what reason? Oh my gosh, I envy voice actors because they have so much talent, especially English dub actors, because I mean, I obviously envy Japanese voice actors and Chinese voice actors because they put so much emotion and just emote so well for the characters. They do such a good job. It's why I usually do the Japanese subs, because I like hearing the original voice actors do it. But I have a lot of respect for English dub actors because they not only have the arduous task of matching lip movements to an entirely different language, but they have to make it work. And if it's done right, they have to put the right amount of emotion into it. And so I feel like a lot of times you either have two different kinds of English dub female voice actors. You either have the really girly voice that's like, oh my god, like light, or you have like the really deep seductress voice. It's like really sensual and really like just seducing them, you know? Like it happens one of those. I feel like I would like to voice Akane Tsunemori from Psycho-Pass because I feel very relatable to her, and I would like to voice her because she'd just be a lot of fun. But I would love to voice a villain. Like, my problem is I would love to voice Bai Wuxiang from Heaven Official's Blessing, but they're a male character, so it's really hard. But they just have like this sinister presence. It's kind of like Ursula a little bit. Ursula is one of my favorite Disney villains. She's just so fun. And so I would love to do that, or just do Makima from Chainsaw Man. Because Makima, she's so sweet. And she's like, Denji, why don't you just do what I ask you to? I feel like she could be a lot of fun. Just like that kind of poisoned honey kind of voice. That would be so much fun to do. But I don't know. They would be a lot of fun. So thank you, TB, for those questions. Those were really good. Sussy Saquinar. They have this question. This was a lot of fun. If you had to build a family using characters from series that you reviewed this year, who would you choose to be the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister, the sassy aunt, the supportive uncle, and the psycho cousin? Well, let me tell you. I would have to say, I thought about the mom, because in these characters, for the record, they didn't say they had to be mom, dad, brother, sister characters. They could just be characters that would be the role, right? That's how I interpreted it. For me, the mom character that I would want in the family would be Ylva, who is Thorfinn's sister from Vinland Saga. She's badass and strong. I would want her to be the mom character because she would like take no shit, but like would just be all about it, but be supportive, be a strong character, be the backbone of the family. I would love that. And then I was kind of torn. I would either want the dad to be Guts from Berserk because, I mean, daddy of all daddies, right? I mean, just this big giant of a man that's tough and strong, but is kind deep down inside, romantic. I'm all for it. Or I would want Tenma from Monster because he's a doctor. I'm like, give me a doctor dad. Yes, please. As far as sister goes, I would like Jean from Quesadilla Vanitas. Jean would be an amazing sister. We would have so much fun. Jean is sweet but tough, and we would go and have tartatons together and just talk about our crushes, and it'd be great. I would love to have Jean as a sister. As far as brothers go, I would pick Sheen from 86. I think a brother that's protective but also has a good heart deep inside. I think Sheen would be a good brother, right? Ironically enough, I think so. For the sassy aunt, I would have Masato Katsuragi from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Masato would be an amazing aunt. She'd drive you places. She'd take you places. She'd be able to protect you. She's like the boss of like a military rank. She's great. I would love Katsuragi as an aunt. She'd be the sassy aunt indeed. Supportive uncle. If we're talking about supportive, you can determine that in a lot of different ways. I determine that as financial. So Haru Kato from Millionaire Detective is a freaking billionaire. Okay, Uncle Kato, give me your money. Give your niece your credit card. She'll do wonders with it. I'll take good care of it. That would be the supportive uncle that I would want. And then as far as Psycho Cousin, there was only one that came to mind. And that's Chi-Rong from Heaven Official's Blessing. He'd be the best cousin to have. Just cursing and swearing, rolling around, calling out all the ships, and I'd be like, So that'd be really good. So that would be my choice for that. Cyber had this question to ask, and Cyber, if you are not aware, is our resident troll. They're also known as Mevelin, and they happened to do a lot of work for the channel for me, which we'll talk about a little bit. But Cyber had this wonderful comment to ask. Happy holidays! I would like to ask, in the chronicles of JJK, how doth the interweaving of a tapestry of diverse narrative machinations, such as the delineation of accursed techniques, the exposition of characters' antecedents, and the episodic advancement of the saga, contribute to the profound thematic tapestry of the series? Pray, scrutinize how this narrative employs these elements to explore in depth abstruse themes akin to the essence of virtue and inequity, the pondering of mortality, and the psychological evolution of personages such as Itadori and Gojo in a realm besieged by malfactions and sorcery. Go watch my hour-long discussions of season 2 to find the answers. But yes, that's basically the answer. I'm like, go watch season 2. I talked for way too long about it. You'll find my answers there. But yes, I do like the differences between Itadori and Gojo's backgrounds, how they came into power, la la. Go watch the show. Go watch my discussions. You'll find my answers to thus questions there. And then my last question, before I wrap up with my housekeeping stuff, like I told you all an hour ago, awesome. Lyndon, you thought you'd challenge me. You said Eren, Attack on Titan, Shinji, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Griffith, Berserk, all have to make an important decision about the fate of humanity. At the end of their retrospective series, compare and contrast 500 words, double-spaced, 12-point font. And then Be Happy said, do it in 2 hours. So guess what, bitches? I did. So here is my 500 word. I'll have the 12-point font double-spaced version that I'll possibly try to add to the Discord if I can. But here is my short narrative that I did in less than 2 hours to talk about it. Please note spoilers will be abound if you don't want spoiled from Neon Genesis, Attack on Titan, and Berserk. Here's the joke. Eren, Shinji, and Griffith walk into a bar, all with different backstories, sexual preferences, and varying environments they experience in their retrospective series. And yet all with a female side character they've been pushed into a ship with despite not actually being romantically interested in them. And this is where I would slurp my tea very loudly. Regarding the fate of humanity, though, each character has to make a decision concerning whether to lead their fellow friends and family to salvation or eternal damnation. How do their decisions compare and contrast with one another? Let's sit beside them at the bar and find out. Spoilers abound! All three have seen the cruelest parts of humanity. Of the three, I would say Shinji is the youngest and most innocent. He is a part of the destruction of the world, but has the least agency in that, being used by forces around him. Eren is similar to Shinji in being chosen as a savior for those around him, but while Shinji seems to subconsciously want the world around him to vanish, Eren not only is aware of this desire, but actively pursues it the entire series. Both have obvious caveats to this destruction in their closest friends, but are active participants in welcoming the apocalypse to each of their worlds. In the end, though, Shinji is the one that has to make the decision to spare his world, while Eren has to be halted by those close to him. Griffith relates to Shinji and Eren in also being seen as a salvation and a means of a brighter future by his peers. But Griffith takes more comparison to Eren in being aware of the path they are on and the cost it carries moving forward. Regarding the destruction of humanity, with Shinji, we see him face it with confusion and anxiety. With Eren, we see his fierce determination mingled with self-loathing, and with Griffith, we see ambition mixed with self-doubt. All three show a resilience and perseverance against what is thrown at them, but in the end, there are three different decisions made. Shinji is elevated to that of a literal god, but rejects this path to return to Earth, and literally that of a salaryman, if you count the rebuild as canon. Griffith chooses to follow his ambition and elevates himself to that of a king and deity in exchange for his friends being sacrificed. Eren chooses an interesting middle ground, rejecting a crown and avoiding sacrificing his friends, yet still pursuing their ambition. Shinji, Eren, and Griffith could have enough depth to fill a novel. Sadly, I only have 500 words. Needless to say, these three are arguably the last we would want with the power to determine whether humanity lives or dies. Luckily, these three men are fictional. However, it is worth noting their intrigue is how we connect to their inner darkness. This shows the importance of viewing their characters in relation to ourselves, and that is no joke. Pull my shoulder out of socket. So yes, so what a year it's been, and I'm looking forward to 2024. Thank you, Lyndon, for that question. So I want to give a special thanks to the people and the moderators who have helped me get content over on Patreon this year. Thanks to Woosh and Sweebian. They have been with me since the beginning of the channel. They were like one of the first people to ever, follow me on Patreon, and they've helped me get things throughout the year. Mevelyn, thank you for giving me the fan translations for 86 and taking the time to get them together and put them together and send to me. To Dragon, thank you for getting the Attack on Titan files for me. To Anthony, thank you for the monster files that I've been able to watch. Those have been amazing. To Dana, thank you for the Bungo Stray Dog stage plays. To Kelsey for the Ace of the Diamond content, for the extra chapters. Thank you. To Truck and Anime Annie, thank you for the extra Croco's basketball content that you all have translated and put into audio dramas. To Geen, thank you for guest moderating throughout this year. That's been amazing. Right now, Wim and Sunspots are guest moderators over for Psychopaths, over for Blue Lock. So thank you all so much for that. And a special thanks to Be Happy and Floor, who are our main moderators, because they take time out of their day to go through the comments that I'm going to read and make sure they don't have spoilers. And that has honestly been one of the most tremendous things this year and has helped me keep my sanity so many times. And they've been a platform for me to vent and a platform for us to talk about spoilers and things like that when they need to be avoided. And they've just been so amazing. And I don't think that I could keep reading comments like I do if not for them. So to all of you that helped out this year, thank you so much. All of my love indeed. And all of my love to everybody on Patreon. Seriously, I started this channel for fun in May of 2020, and I'm still doing it, which is crazy to me, and I'm still really enjoying it. And so that's really exciting, and it's all thanks to you all. So thank you. I really appreciate it. So as far as housekeeping things, I'm at 9 shows right now. I would like to work to get down to 7 after all of the Heaven Officials Blessing extras are done. That'll be one thing less. And then whichever ends first, either the Berserk manga or the Saturday show replacing Jujutsu Kaisen, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Whichever one of those gets done first, won't fill that slot up, so I'll be down to 7. That will give me more time to work on extras and things that I want to do for myself, which is something I'm pretty passionate about. I would love to host a panel at a convention. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know how in the world you even start that process, but I've been thinking about the last several months that hosting a panel at a convention or being on a panel with voice actors or something and questioning them or interviewing them would be a lot of fun too. So I don't know how to do that, but I'm just going to keep researching that for the next year. I still want to have my YouTube sub goals with Western things like Into the Spider-Verse and more Western shows, but I would like to have more Patreon exclusive content, like maybe doing once a month a movie, or doing the manga review for Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that, leading up to season 2 ending. Little things like that I would like to do in addition to the extras that I have planned. Obviously there's only so many hours in the day, so I just ask everybody to be patient with me about that. And then Jujutsu Kaisen, I debated on replacing that series, but I kind of wanted to because the Berserk manga reviews are going to be like not weekly, so I wanted something kind of there in place. And so I am doing a show. I wanted to do like a current show that's popular right now because to just keep being relevant, with the current series. So I'm going to be doing Freyren. That one won by a landslide. That wasn't even a contest. I was like, I'm going to put Freyren on here and some others that I'm interested in. And it won like 88 votes, and the nearest one was like 27. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing that show. But the format of it is like going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try a little different format. Obviously, to keep on paying for the subscriptions that I do, to pay for the streamable sites, stuff like that, to host. I use Patreon for that. So I'm going to do kind of a different format with that series and test it out because I've noticed a lot of people say they would like in-video reactions, but then patrons want access to the full reactions. Obviously, I can't do the full reactions on YouTube because of copyright. So what I'm going to do with Freyren is for YouTube, do kind of an edited reaction, sort of like what I do with Banana Fish, kind of. And then for Patreon, you'll get the full one. So it won't change any tiers, nothing like that. I'm not going to alter anything like that. Don't worry. But those of you on Patreon that are following me, you guys will get access to the full reaction each week. And those on YouTube will just get the partial reaction with the discussion included. So there's that. So I think what I'll end up doing is having the reaction times in there. So like in the YouTube video, I know a lot of other reactors do this. You have like, for their videos, they'll have like the introduction and there'll be like a little table of contents thing, the reaction, and then the discussion. And I think I'll do that for Patreon as well, but I'll also include in Patreon a link to the full reaction. So if you want to see the full one, you can see it and also have access to whatever YouTube is having access to. I'm going to try that with Freyren and see how it goes and see what the feedback and result is. And if I like it, I'm not going to alter the shows I'm doing now like that because I'm already, into those shows. But Freyren is the first show of 2024, so I might do future shows like that if it turns out to be a formula that works. So we'll just see. But yeah, so we're that. And then finally, in addition to thanking you all, I have to get out of my head a lot because I've been talking to people on Discord and Twitter and stuff. It is very easy as a reactor, and those of you that have your own reaction channels, I'm sure you understand, but it is very easy to get addicted to number counts and subscribers and to get imposter syndrome and to feel like your content isn't validated or appreciated. And multiple times this year, I have felt that weight of not being like, because I have, nearly 9,000, subscribers on YouTube. And for 3 years, that is, it's nice. And I don't get monetized on YouTube because that's just a whole nother tax thing that I don't want to deal with right now. I don't have my own team. I do all my editing. I do all of my reacting, my editing, my thumbnails. I'm not like these big reaction channels that have giant teams of people working on them. That's not me. Somebody described it, maybe it was getting like a book club. And I kind of liked that. I'm like that we're like a secret book club that's kind of exclusive to everything else, right? And I kind of like that. And everyone has been so kind and supportive. And for anything negative that I feel, you all come and give me so much positivity and grace and kindness that it humbles me a lot. So I'm very grateful for all that you guys do to support me. And it helped me kind of put myself in a better mindset to be like, well, you know what? Fudge it. I'm just going to be who I am. And if I don't ever have like the millions of subscribers other people do, then I guess I don't have to worry about some things. So, so I'll just keep doing what I do. And I love you all for being as kind as you are. And I've talked way too long in this video, but do you expect any less from me? So I will save these questions and maybe use them for next year too, because that might be fun, and update them if I can. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of 2023 and an amazing 2024. I hope that it will be even better than the year before. And I thank you all for all the support that you've given me. It has been wonderful, and I appreciate going into next year. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with more reactions. Bye!